And if Facebook can no longer track you, it's going to lose that continuity with the newsfeed and who you are as a person.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the HighLevel Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I am joined by Jason Smith. He is the founder and CEO, Jason?
Yes.
Founder and CEO of Spotlight Social, which is literally one of the most highly regarded Facebook advertising agencies in the world. Jason, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
So I say that and I mean it. If you go on their website, they have 2 case studies done by Facebook. Can you talk to me about how does one make that happen?
Well, it's a long, drawn-out process, I'll tell you that. Nothing is ever easy with Facebook, especially something like that where they're actually taking your work and showcasing it on their site, essentially. Yeah, I mean, we did some really good work for a couple of our clients who are still with us today. I mean, these case studies were created about a year ago, and they came to us and said, hey, we really like what you guys are doing. We love your clients. Because what they do is they actually don't look at just that client. They look at your dashboard of clients. And if Facebook likes it, Facebook likes what you're doing, then they say, okay, we've looked at everything. You're also compliant with all of our best practices. So let's do a case study because you guys are one of our preferred partners and all that good stuff. And yeah, I mean, it takes, I think each case study took 3 to 5 months to actually complete. And it's really cool. They actually send you, and I'm not actually home right now to showcase it, but they send you some really cool frames to you and your client. And it kind of gives, yeah, it's really cool. And it's signed by one of the CEOs of Facebook and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. And then we get listed on Facebook's site for agencies that have done really good things. And
does that drive much traffic to you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, not always qualified, not always people we want to work with, but we get emails all the time like, hey, we saw your case study on Facebook and we'd love to work with you guys. So yeah, it does drive. It's a pretty good lead source for us. So
give us a quick backstory on your journey with Facebook ads. When did you always do it from scratch from the beginning, or did you decide, hey, at some point we're really going to go deep with Facebook ads and become specialists?
Yeah, so we only do Facebook and Instagram. That's all we do. Facebook's super complicated, as you know, and to be really good at it.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. To be really good at it and to be experts, you really have to be in there every day, all day. Diving in, implementing, keeping up with all the changes to Facebook. I mean, that alone, keeping up with the changes alone can be a full-time job. So, yeah.
Do you have do they give, like, is there a tier that you can get to where they actually keep you up to speed of like, hey, next week your account view is going to completely change. So you might want to prepare for that.
Yeah. We knew about the iOS update like a year ago, actually. So, yeah, our partner manager keeps us informed. We have a call with her like once a week. And she's awesome. And she keeps us up to date. I mean, honestly, I don't know what I do. I don't know what I did before when I didn't have her, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's really important to keep up with those updates because as you know, depending on what change they make to the platform can severely impact your ads, how you optimize, how you're scaling, how you're testing. I mean, and you can tell when they're changing the platform. I mean, sometimes your ads will fall off a cliff and I'll email her and be like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you we're doing this. And, I'm like, well, you need to tell us that kind of stuff, So yeah, but as far as my journey, I don't even know if I told you last time I talked to you, but before I owned an agency, I was actually a policeman in Los Angeles for 14 years. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So kind of crazy journey. I literally went from LA street gang cop to a successful Facebook ad agency owner, super crazy. But yeah. And Facebook is, it's complicated. It's complex. It's, every word in the book for complex, that's what Facebook is. And
totally,
you can't just haphazardly run Facebook ads because that's when they'll fail. You really have to dive in and it's all about experience. I call it seat time. It's all about getting enough experience and hours to know what you're doing. And, luckily, we've done that over the last 6 years.
So talk to me. I'd love to, let me pepper you with some tactical types of questions.
Sure.
Of all the ads that you're running,
Mm-hmm.
Are the majority sending traffic to landing pages, lead ads, sending into messenger flows? What are you doing these days? What's hot?
We're doing it all, honestly. I mean, if you concentrate on one thing on Facebook, you're gonna fail, or you're not gonna know how to do all the other things inside of Facebook. If you're running a conversion ad to Shopify, or if you're running a lead ad for a local business, or whatever you're doing, it's done differently, and depending on what campaign you set up, how you structure it. There's ABO and CBO. When do you use ABO? When do you use CBO? All kinds of stuff like that. And it really depends on the client. It depends on their goals. It depends on, what their offer is, where they're generating leads from, like all that stuff. And that's
wait. What are those acronyms for everyone like me that doesn't know what they mean?
ABO and C. So ABO is ad set budget optimization, where you have a little more control over the budget. So you optimize the budget at the ad set level instead of the campaign level. CBO is campaign budget optimization, where you control the budget at the campaign level for Facebook ads. So
gotcha.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to glaze over that because I'm so used to hearing it, But
what
yeah,
about Instagram ads? Like, has that really taken off, would you say, over the past year or two?
Oh yeah, I mean they've always been in the mix. I mean, Facebook owns Instagram, as we know. A lot of people don't know that because they'll come to us and be, "Hey, are you going to run Instagram ads?" I'm like, "Yep, we're running Instagram ads." And what we do at the agency is we always go with all placements, because what we found is, and all placements is, for those of you who don't know, you can limit your placements to only run on Facebook, only run on Instagram, only run on Audience Network, whatever you want to do. But we usually do all placements because we've found that we'll get cheaper clicks, cheaper, CPMs, cheaper everything if we just let Facebook work out the data and work out the traffic. And they're really good at it, actually. A lot of people try to control the platform too much, and then that ends up backfiring, because then Facebook's like, wait, you're trying to restrict us. Let us, kind of like us at the agency, let us do our job here, and we'll divvy out the best traffic for you. And it's actually really good at it. So yeah.
I mean, I was never the guy building the ad campaigns, but I was always impressed when our ad team would report back on how well their lookalike audiences would perform.
Yep. Yeah. Lookalikes are super important. And there's a big misconception with lookalikes as well. With lookalikes, what you want to do is you want to give Facebook as many data points to go out and get more people than they possibly can. So what you want to do is do a lookalike for like purchase events or customer lists, right? Like the highest data points, the most data points you can give Facebook. I mean, Facebook has hundreds of data points that they look at when they're trying to find people. And if you can tell Facebook and raise your hand and say, hey, these are my ideal customers, go out and find more of these people, Facebook does an awesome job with that. They do really, really good. But if you're doing like a lookalike for video views, you're going to be disappointed in your results, because a lot of people watch videos and take no action at all. So you got to really watch what you're doing with your lookalikes as well. Again, Facebook's a complicated machine, and you really have to think about what you're doing. If you want landing page views, that's what you're going to get, right? Like if you optimize for landing page views, you're going to get a bunch of people who look but don't buy. If you optimize for conversions, lead, purchase, view content, whatever it is, that's what you're going to get. And Facebook is going to look for those people who want to take action. So
it almost feels too good to be true, right? I remember with the lookalike thing, and it's like, yeah, find me more people who are going to buy. And it's like, I mean, that would be amazing, but are we just going to waste money on this like fantasy idea? But they really do. They have so much data. It works. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a fine line with trusting Facebook too much, that they know exactly what they're doing, but then again, not trusting it enough. Like I said, Facebook's complicated. You can't control every little thing that they do, because it'll limit the capacity that Facebook has to go out and find those people. But you also want a little bit of control. and really that comes at the ad set levels where you have most control over your campaigns and what you're doing. So yeah.
Well, let's talk about the big news. So my phone updated to iOS 14 the other day, but I actually haven't gotten the thing that's going to ask me if I want to give Facebook permission to track me yet.
Yep.
Talk to us about it. What are you seeing? What are you thinking?
Yeah. So what we've gotten from Facebook, and we've been on calls with Facebook, we've been on with policy, we've been on with marketing science. And essentially what they're saying is, and what we've noticed is it's slowly rolling out. It's not going to be this one big push and everybody's going to no longer be tracked. And I do want to kind of touch on the whole tracking thing as well. But yeah, it's slowly being rolled out. And like with us, what I've noticed is we have, I don't know, 30, 35 clients, and like half of them, the dashboard is different now and it's changed. The other half, it hasn't been affected at all. So what that's telling us is it's slowly rolling out. I mean, it could be another month or two before it fully is, being enforced. And not every phone is going to get the prompt right away. I haven't gotten it yet either. Of course, I'm going to allow it because I want Facebook tracking me. But yeah, it's going to slowly roll out. And actually, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Like one of my biggest questions was, okay, so if 70% of people are going to basically opt out and say, no, I don't want Facebook or Instagram or any of these apps tracking me, how does that look on the optimization side of Facebook? Because if it's delayed attribution and we're not seeing purchases or leads or whatever you're optimizing for like up to 3 days, like it's going to kill our ads. Well, that's where the conversions API that you guys just launched is going to be your source of truth. Like that is going to be what you want to look at every day to be able to optimize your ads correctly. And you still want to optimize for whatever you're optimizing before conversions. Don't go to landing page views. Don't make that mistake. Or, if it works for your company, then do that. But what we're seeing is the slow rollout. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. Facebook still doesn't know a lot of answers that we're asking because it's just going to have to be this slow process of getting the data coming through. So
let's talk about two things that you mentioned. First, I feel like people might be surprised when you said, and I'm going to allow it because I want Facebook tracking me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think I will too. And that might shock people, but why do you want Facebook to be able to track you? I'm assuming it's going to be the same answer I would give.
Well, if Facebook's not tracking my activity and what I'm doing, then my news feed is going to be a mess. It's going to show me ads I don't want to see. I don't want to see my mom's stuff in my feed or something. I used to race professional motocross and I used to do all these things. Well, that's what I want to see in my news feed. I want to see motorcycles and wakeboards and wake surfing and, that stuff. And if Facebook can no longer track you, and yes, it'll use the previous data that it has, but if we go another year without you being tracked, it's going to lose that continuity with the news feed and who you are as a person. So whatever Chase does, you want Facebook to send you the right ads. You don't want to be bombarded with all these ads that you don't want to see. And that's going to be the biggest impact for me in what I think. And don't forget, Apple is still tracking you. Okay. So don't be, don't be
naive.
surprised. Yeah. It's a big illusion really. Right. Because Apple is trying to say, oh, I'm the good guy here, but they're still tracking you. When you hit no, Maps is still going to say, hey, do you want to go home? They're still, you know what I mean? They're still tracking you. So that's a big misconception right now. People are like, oh, yes, they're finally not tracking me. Well, and Google's still tracking you too, FYI.
Of course. Yeah. And I totally agree. I mean, if you're not being tracked, you're going to start seeing ads for I'll start seeing beauty product ads. I don't want to see beauty product ads. I want to see ads for board shorts and stuff that I like. And yes, it's an ad and ads or whatever, but I'd rather see ads that are, in my interest sphere than ads for lipstick. So the other thing that you mentioned is our conversions API. And we haven't really started hyping this up yet, but we are super excited. We're we're going to roll out new triggers where you can push back conversions to Facebook. And can you explain real quick, like how that works for people and how the old way worked and how this sort
Sure.
of method works?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of, I guess, confusion around this as well. Man, I feel like I'm saying that word a lot, but there's a lot of craziness going on right now. So essentially what the conversions API is, or the difference between a conversion API and a Facebook pixel is, the Facebook pixel relies on cookie data, right? And all of us installed Facebook pixels on our websites and go HighLevel and all that stuff, because we want to track the activity of somebody. Well, think of the conversions API as like a direct link to Facebook and your website, and you no longer have to rely on the Facebook pixel or cookie data to for your data to be accurate. Now it's actually, even with the API, is actually even more accurate, because you have people that have ad blockers and all these other things going on now. And even if a person opts out and says, no, I don't want to be tracked, it's kind of a little workaround that we have to still be able to track them. Because, tracking at a 28 day, a 30 day look back is very important, because I want to know, okay, Chase saw my ad for board shorts. And then what he did was he went over to his iPad and looked again at a few products, didn't buy. And then I'm going to send him or you a retargeting ad because I saw you didn't buy. And it probably wasn't because you don't want to buy it. Like somebody came to your front door, or your daughter, you had to go pick up your daughter from school, or whatever it is. And your intentions were good, but you need a little more, oh, shoot, that's right, I got to log in and get these things, And all this data is super important. And the API makes it more accurate and easy for us to get that data, so we can control, in a professional way. Like, we don't bug people. We watch how we send our ads out. So it's a super easy, well, not easy to set up. You guys did an awesome job, but it's an easier way for us to control the data and really be more accurate with what we're doing, and who we're running ads to and what audiences we're building and all that good stuff. So yeah. And I would actually love to pump up your conversions API, because I've been working with it and it is awesome. So great job on that.
That's great. Yeah. So we're really excited. And I sort of, as a layman, think about it as like from the top or from the bottom, and like your pixel sort of sits atop the cross of your browser, and you can see the websites that you go to. And it used to talk back to Facebook like, hey, he did or did not go to the thank you page, right? And now we're going from the bottom, right? Like from HighLevel, you'll be able to trigger the conversion message back to Facebook based on whatever you want. So just like you can build triggers for like, okay, did a pipeline stage change, or, did they fill out a form, or whatever they did, you'll be able to add an action that's like, hey, go tell Facebook that you want that action to count as some sort of conversion, right? And there are various types of conversions. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but how many different are there?
Well, there's a bunch. There's view content, there's add to cart, add payment info, purchase, complete registration, which is for like maybe a webinar or something like that. Then there's call bookings, there's schedule call, there's a search conversion as well. There's a bunch of them. So yeah, I mean, and this is huge news, because, and I just want to let everybody know, as an agency, what we've been doing is, obviously we had to come up with a solution for this. We can no longer rely on the Facebook dashboard and business manager for accurate numbers. So what we have been doing, and I wish I would have known 6 months ago that you guys were going to do, well, you guys didn't even know 6 months ago, right? So, but we had to go out and find some type of third party that was going to help us mitigate some of these issues with tracking and how we were going to optimize our ads. And you guys don't even want to know how much it costs to track this data through some third parties. And then here HighLevel comes along and like, yeah, we got it, we're done. I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. So it's a huge deal. And if you haven't looked at it yet, make sure your Facebook's connected to HighLevel. Go look at it, and it's going to blow you away. I mean, it blew me away, and I've been doing this for a long time. So great job to you guys. So
nice. That's awesome. Yeah, we're really excited. And again, don't forget, people have been blocking Facebook pixels for a long time. Like you mentioned, ad blockers, right? Like ad blockers have been out there for a long time. The sky is not on fire. The world is not ending. But this is certainly going to, and you mentioned it yourself, and I've heard other people say this, when you go third party route, like right from the bottom back to Facebook, like
Yeah.
we're going to do, you actually get cleaner, more accurate data
Yes.
than the pixel would give you.
Yes. Yeah. And because what it does is it's relying on URL strings and, and things like that. And the API is almost like a direct pipeline to what's going on. Essentially, that's kind of like the simplest way to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And the pixel way is like this convoluted, like up and down, and oh, it's going to track this and it's going to track this site. And URL tracking is never completely 100% accurate. API is like a direct pipeline to what you're doing. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, I want to finish up. I'm sure a bunch of people are going to watch this and be like, "Oh, does that guy do white label Facebook ads?" And I think we talked about this a little bit before. And I don't think you do white label, right? But you are open to sort of partnership type of arrangements. Is that true?
Yeah, we can do partnerships. The only reason why, and I'll explain why we don't do white label. We've done them in the past, and if our agency can't have a direct contact with the client, a lot of times it doesn't work. Again, Facebook's complicated. There's a lot of things to take in consideration here, and if we can't explain some of these things to the client, it can sometimes break down and not work essentially. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm open to it, depending on the situation. And
Do
you know,
you guys have, I mean, let's just be clear. Do you guys
yeah,
have like a minimum spend? Like, hey, we're not interested in working with companies that can't spend at least X amount a month.
yeah. I mean, normally we start off about between 5 to 10,000 a month in spend. However, with that said, we took on a client 5 months ago who was spending nothing. They were a brand new company, and we've already scaled them to over 100,000 in spend. So at a 3x
Wow.
return. So sometimes, I don't want to rule it out because everybody's a little different. Every business is a little different. I don't think we want to take on like the brand new startup who doesn't have any sales. If you're doing good on Amazon, you're not on Facebook, come see us. The situations like that work really well. If you're doing good on Google, but you're not on Facebook because you don't really know what to do or where to go, come to us and we'll help you out. So
Nice. And if they want to reach out to you, is the best place to just go to the website, spotlightsocialadvertising.com?
yeah, you can go there or you can just email me directly, jason@spotlightsocialllc.com.
Awesome, man. Thanks again for coming on.
No problem. Thank you so much, Chase. Appreciate it.
Thanks everybody for watching. We will see you in the next one.